in it. It's like no matter what they do, medication, exercise, diet, no matter what, it's a genetic defect. Okay? Under normal conditions, we take care of this great. Okay? Now, when we talk about the fatty acids, we're going to see that we have some that are essential, meaning the only way for us to get them is to consume them in our diet. And these are the linoleic, all right? They're going to be the fatty acids that we find: seeds, nuts, legumes, grains, green leaves. How many of y'all in here consume those? Seeds, the nuts, the legumes, the grains, the green leaves. Think you get them in the right amounts? Nah. But there are some, because they've done a lot of research now, there are some that are much better for you in your diet than others. Okay? I think like, is it the almond one? The almond that is supposed to have so many of the essential fatty acids. I guess therefore all that stuff. Which now I kind of have to ask the question, what exactly is the almond milk?
I don't know. Tell me how to milk an almond.
It's like blended up almond, and then they like boil it, and then they like take the almond stuff.
They just take everything out and add what they took out back in. Like
they like strain it after they boil it. So that's why they boil it, turns like, I guess it turns milky maybe.
I guess because I think about where milk comes from. Okay? And I'm like thinking, well, how do we do that to an almond? Y'all know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's like, but so many things have gone to be this almond milk, you know. I've never tried it. Anybody in here ever tried it? You tried it, Lynn? Is it good?
Yeah, I guess. I don't really like almonds, but yeah, it's pretty good.
It's okay?
Yeah, it doesn't
Greg,
have like
what did you think?
It's like nutty, but then sweeter than an average milk. It's kind of strange.
Is it like less in fat or something, or higher in protein?
I feel like it's more like watery than milk.
More watery, so it has a different texture to it. Okay, maybe I'll try it someday. I don't know. Now, when we talk about the lipids, okay, like I said, we take them in. The body's going to break them down. The way that we are going to use lipids in the body, with lipids, straight up triglycerides, we can, now note my terminology, we can, as they break into their component parts, be used to produce ATP. What? What have I constantly been saying about ATP? Where? What molecule have I constantly said is needed for ATP? Glucose. Wait a minute, I'm now telling you that a component part of the fats that we take in can make ATP? Yes. Yes. The difference, all right? The difference my cell, my nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi, blah, blah, blah. All right? I then have this really cool structure called the mitochondria. And that mitochondria has its own structure that we're going to talk about. The difference in the making of the ATP, because when the mitochondria make ATP, first of all, it's aerobic. Oxygen is involved somehow. And I'm going to produce a high number of ATPs. When glucose can be used as the source, here's the thing about glucose, and it only applies to glucose. In the cytoplasm of my cell, when that glucose enters the cell and the cell needs a ready source of energy, that means I need ATP and I need it now. The glucose molecule can be used. And this one is anaerobic respiration. That's as far as it goes. In the cytoplasm, the glucose will get broken down. I'll get 2 ATPs, and then this huge molecule called lactic acid. That's it. Fats cannot do that. Proteins cannot do that. The only molecule that can give us energy by just being in the cytoplasm is glucose. For a fat or a protein to be used to make energy, they will enter at a certain point. Do you guys remember Krebs cycle and all that other sort of stuff? Okay, they will enter at a certain point, and they'll still produce 36 to 38 ATP. They can only, so that tells me that the lipid and the protein can only be used in the mitochondria to make energy. That's a big difference. So glucose can give us energy with or without the mitochondria. That's something to think about. Now, like I've said, the leftover fats that we take in, they'll get stored in adipose tissue. Short term, they might be in the liver, but chances are they're going to go directly to that adipose tissue. Cholesterol, we tend to eat. In the body, we can manufacture cholesterol from the steroids, or cholesterol is the base for the steroids. The cholesterol that we might think of is important for structure in the plasma membranes. We do see that what we have as that cholesterol in the plasma membranes, that is the starter molecule for the other steroids and those bile salts. Now, as we move further into AMP, Part 2 specifically, you're going to come across something called eicosanoids. You're going to come across these when you have to start talking about, for example, blood clotting. We'll touch on it for tissue repair, but those are going to also be fatty acid substances. And then, of course, the one that we have learned quite a bit about are those phospholipids. Now, the proteins, once again, chains of amino acids. If you remember, the gene on the DNA codes for that. Messenger RNA takes it out, puts it together, we get the chain of the amino acid, we start getting a protein. We do have some amino acids that the body can make, synthesize to make. So there are some amino acids the body can make. These are termed non-essential. However, we have also got some amino acids that the only way we get them is from our diet. Meaning, we've got to take in something that is a protein source so that the body can break it down and use the parts to it. Now, proteins to me are going to be the meats. Okay? Yes, I'm a meat eater. All right? Now, people who aren't, this is where it becomes important for them to know how to put together the plant-based foods so that they get all of the needed amino acids, the proteins. And that becomes very important, okay? Because the last thing that you want the body to do is to start breaking down proteins it has made. You do not want the body to do that, okay? Now, when we talk about foodstuffs that have all of the amino acids, whether essential or non-essential, meat, fish, poultry, milk, cheese, eggs, every one of them is an animal-based product. However, they contain all of the protein, all of these amino acids that are needed for the diet. Look at what proteins do in the body. Antibodies. What is that?
Your immune system.
It's part of our immune system. Our enzymes, hormones, the stuff that's going to play a very important part on regulating other cells' activities. For structure, collagen. Collagen. What?
That's what I was thinking.
What do you think of when you hear collagen?
Like cartilage.
Anything to deal with plastic surgery. That's sort of what I think about. Okay? Like, you know, how they go and get the lips, you know, injected with collagen and stuff like that. Collagen. There are going to be 3 fibers in the body. Collagen, reticular, elastic. Collagen is the toughest. To give you an idea of collagen and its importance, how many of you know what rebar is? All right? What do you do with it? You put it in concrete. Is everybody familiar with rebar?
To reinforce it.
Okay. I know. The first time I was like, what? But now that I've learned this, every time concrete's getting poured, I'm looking for that rebar. Okay? Because I want to know it's going to be reinforced. For example, building getting built. All right? Got to use all this concrete. You see different pieces of metal, and they pour the concrete around it.